Dang it. Feel like you've been trying this thing for a long time. This fitness thing for a long time and you've had no success. You're probably missing this one key component that will change everything. This is Red Center's Project Fresh, and I'm having technical difficulties. It's so fun with this process. I feel like you've been trying this thing for a long time. And I'm sure you guys can appreciate it if you do any kind of content. You know all the challenges that can come with producing content. So that being said, although I'm not a social media or content expert, for over 13 years, I have been helping people take control of their health and optimize their performance, building sustainable specialists and certified sports nutrition coach. I work with everyone from busy professionals to athletes, coaching them through the science and real world habits of fitness and nutrition. Here I share the stories, the lessons, and the strategies that make long-term wellness possible. And that's the key thing, is that when we do this, we want those habits to stick. So with what we were doing last year, and hopefully this is not slowing down so much that it's not picking me up, because this is actually a topic that I think is really important. And I'm speaking from perspective of learning today, but I think it really applies well to what we do in the context of wellness, health, and nutrition specifically. And if you do feel like you've been giving an effort towards your fitness and it's just not going well, I think this is one that would be very beneficial for you. And we're titling this one The Compound Effect of Discipline. Now, there's three different stories that I'm going to share today instead of points, but I hope in the story you will get the point that I'm trying to make. So number one is last week we started to add to our social media posting. We brought our LinkedIn articles back. In addition to our 4 to 5 minute LinkedIn article, we're also doing 3 small ones, just quick ones, about 1 to 2 minutes long. Instead of emails, like no one really opens their emails, so we're doing articles, we're doing physical mail again. We want to continue to connect with people in a meaningful and consistent way. And today, I do not want to do post. I don't want to be on camera. I don't want anything to do with this. Like, it felt so intensive last week doing, I think we got 18 posts on TikTok. We posted a few of those over to here. So let's say 20. We got those 4 articles in and we did our Monday Lunch Live. So about 25 pieces of content, which is that a lot of content? Not necessarily. But what I would say is that that's more than we've been doing. And I'm feeling the resistance to that. To repeat that and do it again, yeah, I don't want to do it. But here's the reality. That exact same thing happens with your health. Whether you're adding in, say you did 2 or 3 exercises last week, let's say strength training, you did twice, 2, 3 times, and that's not the norm. You're probably feeling the resistance. If you started last week, today you're probably feeling that same kind of resistance, right? I think that's where discipline, in our first point, really makes a difference. Doing it despite how you feel. Story number 2, my wife and I have been doing a lot of Olympic weightlifting over the last year or so. August will make a full year. And I used to do Olympic weightlifting back in 20, let's see, so it was my junior or sophomore year of high school. So we're talking over half my life ago. I've strength trained off and on throughout the years. But when I look at some of the athletes, some of these guys, they're either powerlifters or Olympic weightlifters, and I see the weight they're doing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, if I tried that weight, I would obliterate my shoulder joints, right? My back would explode. I would be in the hospital, in ICU, right? Critical condition. And it's funny to say that, but the reality is that at 15, I was pretty close to squatting 500 pounds. Now, you guys, if you follow Jalen, or excuse me, if you follow NFL even loosely, you may have heard of Jalen Hurts. Obviously, he's the quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles. For those that do follow, for those of you who don't know, I'm probably speaking Portuguese right now, a completely different language. But long story short, if you've heard anything about him, you know that in college he was squatting like 500 pounds, and it was a big deal, right? And there's a lot of other quarterbacks and running backs, the guys that aren't necessarily considered larger on the field, larger to your average American, right? But on the field of play, not so much. These guys are doing some serious weight. The more weight you can lift, the faster and more explosive you can be. There's a correlation there. Long story short, I was just doing that at 15. I hit 400, no problem. And I think if I would have had the consistency or the discipline, despite my circumstances, which I was afraid the coach was going to chew me out for having a missed lift of 500 pounds, that's the only reason why I didn't try again, was I was afraid I was going to get in trouble. That discipline compounded over these last 15 plus years. I can only imagine where my body would be if I would have stuck with that at an early age and carrying it into my 30s, which I feel like I'm way more prime now in my 30s than I was in my teens, easily. And so that's the second story that I think is really important too. If there's something that you know you really want to see and succeed in, discipline, again, is key. Despite the circumstances, keeping with it is absolutely key. Last one here, I want to talk about a client. When I started with him, and this plays right into our range of who we are speaking to, busy men in your 28 to 55 range. We started with this particular client in his mid 50s, and now he's in his early 60s. About 7 years later, we've started training with him, and just it's been a great relationship, client coach relationship. And just last week, he told me that he had a couple of points of validation, which were phenomenal, really phenomenal kudos for him. We just got back to weight training probably, I would say, end of May. So we've been in it now for about, I would say safely, we're in about 8 weeks, maybe a little bit longer than that. And he's starting to see the results. He's starting to feel really good. We had a little month break due to just different traveling and things, but he's remained disciplined in several different factors, not just our workouts, but in his eating. He's challenging himself to doing push-ups every day for the whole year. And he's done that previously a couple of years past. And he had two compliments. One, an old friend he hadn't seen for a long time, looked him up and down and said, "Dude, what are you doing?" Again, mind you, this is a guy in his early 60s. "What are you doing? You're looking you're looking muscular. What are you up to?" Told him what he was doing. And then the second one was his golf professional. He's getting lessons from a golf pro, and his golf pro's got him on a TrackMan. It's basically a machine that reads his swing. So all the metrics, how fast he's swinging, what his body's doing throughout that swing, if you're familiar with golf and that kind of thing. Long story short, his golf pro tells him, "Look, you have never swung that fast. Your golf head speed, I think it was in the 80s, somewhere in the 80s. You've never swung that fast." My client has been hitting PRs consistently over these last 8 to 10 weeks, beyond some of the PRs we've had in the past when we've had our muscle building, strength gaining seasons that we've had. Mind you, we've been training for 7 years, so this isn't the first time that we've done this. And later on, 7 years later, he's hitting PRs and it's showing up in his golf swing, not just to mention his aesthetics. So that's another thing with discipline. This man travels often. He's got a lot of work. He's got a lot of time with family that he dedicates as well, amongst other things in his life. And yet he still stays with it. So if there's anything that you gathered from any of those three stories, I hope it's that discipline is your friend. And when it comes to long-term success, that is the one thing that's going to get you there. This is Ryan Sanders with Project Fresh. We really are just super grateful to have this opportunity and platform to do this. One thing that I'm going to ask for my YouTube channel here, because we unfortunately are not able to stream on our Instagram anymore. They've changed the live requirement where you have to have 1,000 followers to be able to live stream. If you are on Instagram, come please follow us on Instagram. This is our ask for today at Project Fresh Coaching. So if you're on Instagram, at Project Fresh Coaching, and we'd really, really appreciate that. So check us out. We're really close, actually. We're at 898 followers, so we only need about 102 followers to help us get there. So if you guys are on Instagram, please come check us out, and we will keep that Monday Lunch Live going. All right. Hope you guys are doing well, and we'll talk to you guys here soon. All right. Have a great one, and enjoy your week. We'll be back right here, same time, same place, Monday, 12 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 2 on the East Coast, 11 a.m. on the West Coast. And if you're checking in with us from around the world, drop your location in the comments. We'd love to hear from you as well.